Hello, this is Mark from MLB DFS Weather.com. It's Friday, July 8th. It is a Friday, so that means you can find me at Daily Fantasy Cafe in the forums, posting my updates. I already posted my forecast, and follow me on Twitter at DF Cafe. I will be giving you game-by-game updates today there as well. Couple games have some rain issues. Not expecting any postponements for any of them, but there is some risk there. Several ballparks have really good hitting environments, and we'll go around there as well. And several ballparks really favor the pitcher tonight. I think you can take advantage of that. First, with the rain, we have Chicago at Pittsburgh. As you can see from this simulated radar near this time of scheduled first pitch, they're kind of in between weather systems, a loosely organized line of thunderstorms in central PA, and a more impressive line of thunderstorms coming over Lake Erie, with Pittsburgh area being in between those two. So they should be okay. Just keep an eye on them. There are a few pop-up thunderstorms around that could cause a delay, but I'm not really expecting major problems here. Baltimore is a little bit more worrisome. We have this rather impressive line of thunderstorms that's going to go through the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And as I said in my write-up today, the theme of today's forecast is all about timing. If the timing of this model is correct, Baltimore should be okay. The rain should be pushing off to the southeast just as the scheduled first pitch goes off at 7:05, I believe. However, these models are guide. They're not gospel. And their timing is going to be off. I know that. The timing and placement is going to be off to some extent. Now, to how much of the extent is where I try to come in and add value. Because anyone can look at these models and say, oh, there it is. They're going to be dry. I'd be saying not so fast to that. These models are notorious for changing throughout the day. As the atmosphere does, and this could be a little bit slower. If we're slower here, then we have a potential late start. I don't see a postponement just because it is a rather narrow band. But the other thing to keep an eye on is that stuff I mentioned in Central PA, and it's also in the Maryland Panhandle here, that stuff may come through during the day. During the game, and that could cause a delay as well. So this is an area to keep an eye on. Again, I don't think it's a postponement, though I do have it as a 20% risk, and I don't have Pittsburgh as a postponement risk, and I do have the delay risk in Baltimore as 50%. Cleveland, sort of the same idea as Pittsburgh. Well, they're not too far apart in terms of geography, but that line of Lake Erie will most likely push through the Cleveland area during the game. This is the 7 p.m. simulated radar. And by 9 p.m., the simulated radar has the thunderstorms going right through Cleveland. So just taking, again, the models as a gospel, looks like a pretty decent threat for an in-game delay. Again, timing could be off here. If this is a little faster, then we could have a delayed start or a delay very early in the game. If this is a little slower, the game may be over, or it's a very late game delay. So just keep in mind that Cleveland looks like an in-game delay. I know people look for starting pitchers, avoid those starting pitchers where there's an in-game delay, and this could be a case there. The Mets are at home again, and much like in Baltimore, that same line is going to be affecting New York City. This is right at scheduled first pitch. Again, taking this model as gospel, I would say, oh, we got a delayed start here. It looks pretty likely. And that could be the case. I'm not having a high postponement risk. I think I have it at 20, just like Baltimore, because this thing is moving, and it's going to rain for 2 hours in New York City, and then it should be out if this model's correct. We do have a little bit of a concern of a couple pop-up things behind that main line, but all in all, I think they'll play the game. But there is the risk for delays, either a delayed start or a delayed in some point of the game. That's really tough to narrow down right now. And last but not least, talking about timing, is Denver. We have this major line of thunderstorms that is forecast to be well southeast of the city when the game starts. Again, if the timing is this correct, it's not a big deal. There are a few pop-up thunderstorms that we'll have to keep an eye on that could cause a delay, but I'm really not worried about a postponement. If this line of thunderstorm is slower, then we have a bigger problem, and we'll have to keep an eye on it. But even in that case, if this is slower, it is pushing out. It would cause a delayed start and probably not a postponement. And those are the games that I have with rain issues, but let's look at some hitting ballparks. The one ballpark I'm going to tell you that you could possibly, well, there's two, maybe three, but let me go one by one. Take advantage of is in Boston. The weather environment has changed drastically. We've gone from summer to spring now. The wind is going to be northeast. That's off the water, so that brings in cool air. That does not allow batted balls to carry very well. Not only is a northeast wind bring cool air, and by cool I mean temperatures during the game tonight will only likely be in the 60s, and this is compared to the 80s the last few times they've played there, so that's a major difference in terms of air density. But another factor is when it's warm and in the 80s, the wind's blowing out to the monster. And I watched that game the other night, and it seemed like every fly ball had a chance of scraping the monster, even if it was just a normal fly ball. And that happens when the wind's blowing out and when it's warm. Tonight, a northeast wind blows in from center. Batted balls will not carry, especially to center and right, because of the wind and because of the air density. Look for scoring to be held back in Boston because of this. But there's other ballparks where the pitchers will have a benefit. There's the California games in LA and San Francisco where almost always the pitcher has advantage because of the stadium and because of the dry air in place. Miami, the roof will be closed. That's a pitcher's ballpark. And then another ballpark that's generally favors the pitcher anyways, but in this case the wind's blowing in from right, and the air is pretty dry for this time of year is in Kansas City. So look for those ballparks to favor the pitcher. And hitting ballparks, Colorado, obviously that was one of the three I mentioned. It's great hitting conditions there. The air density you all know about, but the wind's blowing out to left center at 15 miles per hour, and it's very warm. All these factors help the batter. I hate to be a pitcher there tonight. Texas is another one. It's hot, and I had a few tweets about what's this jet thing going on in Texas, and I had talked to a few people, and what they had said is that a wind blowing in from right hits a structure behind home plate, and at the low levels of the ballpark will actually help balls carry out to right and center. So that's something that you can take advantage of. Now, last night it didn't work out, because, well, maybe the pitchers pitched real well. But generally, if the wind's blowing in from right and it's warm out, that will help balls hit to right and center at Texas. So again, use that to advantage. Also, I think a couple places, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Houston, the roof will likely be open, though it's very warm and humid. But if it is open, that really favors the batter. That's what I got for you. It's rather busy, but I'll do my best to keep you updated. Have a good one.